Great. Okay, so we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to one and all who is watching this live. Although, you know, I don't actually believe in this concept of having one day being dedicated to the most precious thing that God has ever made. And, um, I mean, each and every moment that we are breathing, it's because of a woman. let's accept it. And it's a fact, right? So we essentially thank um, a woman each and every moment of her life. There is no life without her. Um, there is no earth without her. And but obviously, I mean, there is always those moments where we have to take our time to be expressive about this and explicitly tell out the world that how thankful we are to that lady and to that mother, to that sister, to that wife, to that friend, to that woman colleague, to that female, woman leader, right? That what they have done to us and how significantly they have contributed in our lives and how better they have made this world. So with this note, I would like to welcome and thank everyone, each and every woman, although we got a chance to speak to only four beautiful women today. But it's a thank you note to everyone out there who's listening to us, who is watching us. A big thank you from TDeFi team, a big thank you from everyone, and especially from me. Hi, I'm Rishabh. I'm heading the operations at TDeFi, and I got an opportunity today to talk to four wonderful ladies. Happy Women's Day to all of you, first of all. That's, I know it's 9:30 here in Dubai, and I'm sure you all must be doing these video sessions since morning, so must be tired. But I can promise you this is the last one for the day at least. Right. Okay. So let's begin with the introductions. I would like to invite, starting from Kimberly, about please tell us about yourself. And just to mention, we are not talking about breaking the stereotype. We have already done that. Let's believe it, right? We have done that ages ago. Now we are talking about just a casual conversation between a few women that have been contributing in the business and us who have been doing that as well, right? So let's begin with introduction about your journey. We have Kimberly, Firdosh, Zhanna, and Lily. Let's begin with Kimberly, then Lily, over to Firdosh, and then Zhanna. About your journey, about yourself. We'd be glad to hear.
Sounds good. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's quite incredible to be, alongside all of these other amazing ladies. And I think we all agree with this. We don't identify as a woman in tech or a woman entrepreneur. We just identify as someone contributing to the space. My journey started when I was 16 years old. After finishing high school and doing like 1 year at college, I realized that I don't need to follow the rules that, there's this path that society teaches you to take. And especially, being from a very cultured family, go get a good job, get married, settle down, all of that. I realized that I wanted to do more for myself. And with we're in the era of the internet, and I was able to access all of the information. And so since I was 16 years old, I've just been building. And that is when I realized that I don't need to identify as a young, brown, female person space. I can identify as someone who has value to add. And so I've been doing that for the past 7+ years. This journey has brought me to where I am, meeting some incredible people like the TDeFi team, our team at Bridge Network, Lily, who's our legal advisor. And we've built incredible products and will continue to do so. And what we're building at Bridge Network is essentially a interoperability protocol that essentially provides all the tools so that users can seamlessly move cross-chain. So that's a bit about us.
Yeah. Me next?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm Lily. I'm also from Barbados, and I've known Kim for a long time. But in terms of women and kind of my background, I was raised by like a really badass woman. She was a single mom. She had her own business. She was the most popular, most famous lady around before Rihanna. Before Rihanna came on from Barbados. That's a big name out here. And she just, it never crossed my mind to be any different. So like by the time I was 19, I started my own business, and I was negotiating with banks and large legal and financial institutions with no real limitations on what I thought we could do. And over the years, I've developed several businesses, and I went to law school, altering law school, so I have a legal background. And I got into crypto when I was like 2013, 2014, like my last year in law school. And I followed the space. I went to every conference that I could go to. I worked on projects. I sat on boards. I've advised legally. I've helped governments develop frameworks, especially in the Caribbean, to make the space into more of a hub and to steward the space, just like Kimberly, for instance. So yeah, I mean that's me. I would like to think that there are any limitations. I'm so proud to see what she's done and how she has no limitations whatsoever. Goes into a room and fully expects to hear yes. Right, Kimberly?
Thank you. Yeah, well, it's great when you have cheerleaders like Lily supporting you.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lily and Kimberly. Let's move to Firdosh.
Hello
Very
everyone,
strong,
my name is
very
Firdosh.
strong entrepreneur.
I guess I'm the most seen face in the TDeFi videos, so most of the community already knows me. My name is Firdosh. I'm co-founder and CEO of DRIFE, and obviously a lot of people also know my story of what is DRIFE and why DRIFE. So I'm not going to tell that story now, but yeah, like I'll share something more personal this time. Like, I was always been told that I was a rebel ever since I was a child, and, not following the norm coming from an Indian society where you're expected to be a doctor or an engineer. I took that decision at the age of 11 that I don't want to be that. And ever since that, I have lived a life where I said, like, I will live my life as I want to and not by the society norms. And that has built me differently, and that's why I see myself different from the league, and I always wanted to do things differently, and that's how DRIFE happened. And although people said no to me, people said that the concept of DRIFE is surreal, it's way too crazy, way too ambitious, I still pursued it. I made sure that I delivered to it. So where I'm sitting today after so long here in a panel discussion at TDeFi, I'm so proud to tell that we have launched DRIFE in India. We have a growing community of drivers and riders in India. And it was all possible because I believed in myself, and there were few people who believed that I am that person who can actually achieve that. So yeah, I am very thankful to all the people who said no to me, and also to the people who stood by me no matter what.
Wow, great. Fantastic. So just as a disclosure, Firdosh has been a good friend since last 2 years, and I know this story as well. But even today, this actually, I come from the Indian society as well, so I can understand and can understand. It's not actually only about the Indian society. It's actually about a general, a trend that when you're coming, you tend to follow a profession where you have a certainty, and then breaking that trend and going against it definitely puts you in a position of a lot of force, and then breaking that to come out of it and still prove. That's amazing journey. Thank you for sharing it. So, and let's move to Zhanna. I have again, the good part of this AMA is that I know all of you, like most of you, very personally, and I think I've seen the journey of Zhanna, but I think the world definitely needs to know about how she has she started her journey from. Okay, let's hear from Zhanna.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to be with you guys today at the event, and I believe this event it's a great opportunity to bring together and give value to all women. And I always wanted to be independent of parents, men, of society, and I'm so happy what. Today, currently, I am lead of operation blockchain recruitment company. I can work with biggest name in blockchain space and help them to solve the problem with hiring. We are working with Binance, Wazirex, TDeFi, this kind of companies. And I will share you a small story about my journey. I was born in very small village in Ukraine. I guess it was 700 people. And I studied hard for my exams, which allowed me to graduate from best technical university in Ukraine. I start my career after second course. And now near 6 year, I'm in recruitment. I was so lucky, to jump in HR space, and now I am still in HR. And 2 years ago, I started learn for myself trading, investment in blockchain space, white papers, teams, charts, and I realized what a lot of good, very good projects with good ideas, but don't have strong team. And I say, okay, I should share my expertise from IT space to blockchain space. It's how I joined Recruiting. And I am so happy what I am today with you guys. And I'm so happy to see Firdosh, because for me, it's very important. We already with Firdosh with few events, and it's about women's support. And we are supporting each other, not only in professional space, even in personal, we are good friends. And yeah, let's start.
Great. Thank you, Zhanna. So I'll go again, breaking a trend. I won't ask you why women in tech. That's a very boring question. Sorry. I would rather ask you, how do you see as the future of technology, future of blockchain as a technology, future of, I mean, you all are working on one or the other products and one or the other businesses. How do you see this growing in the next 2 years? And I would rather, appreciate if you could also include how to bring mass adoption in this space of blockchain and crypto. Let's start with Firdosh.
Yeah, so I guess this is something that I speak a lot about, which is, how do we see blockchain in coming years, and how do we bring mass adoption? Because I'm also building something which is about real world implication of blockchain and cryptocurrency, and how are we going to see this whole technology. And there's something I say always, like when you look at Amazon or Netflix or different Web2 big names, nobody talk about the underlying technology. And that is where I want to see blockchain in coming 5 years, where we'll have all the decentralized marketplaces and everything running on the top of blockchain, and blockchain will just become an underlying technology, and we will not get bothered about, because as of now we have this small community of people who know cryptocurrency, and most of us are building things for people who understand cryptocurrencies, because most of the project that I know are building things for the whole ecosystem. And that's where I always say, unless and until we start building things that a common man can use without even bothering about the fact that there's a cryptocurrency layer or a blockchain layer to it, the mass adoption cannot be achieved. And that's what our struggle was also when we decided that we wanted to do a decentralized ride sharing application, and said, like, how you going to make drivers and rider understand this? And that's where I realized you don't have to make them understand about this at all. For them, it is a platform which enable a service for them that allow them to get connected with each other. And that's it. That's what we have to deliver in a longer run. That's going to bring mass adoption to both cryptocurrency and blockchain as a technology, where everyone will be able to use applications for their day-to-day life. And I feel so proud that whenever I'm back in Bangalore, DRIFE is a part of my daily life. Whenever I have to go to office or go anywhere, I'm using a real-world application which uses blockchain, and there are people who are using that application without getting bothered about the fact that there's an underlying technology. That's where I want to see the technology. And that's what I expect a lot of people to go ahead and start building real world project, and not just building for the crypto ecosystem.
Great. Yeah. Thank you. So you're actually dealing with the masses directly.
Yeah.
So Kimberly, building, you have been in the business blockchain for almost 7 years, I assume now, as I understand, and then building this institutional product. What are your thoughts on mass adoption of crypto and blockchain?
Yeah, I mean, I totally echoes Firdosh's point, where it's like we're only talking about the tech, but we're not talking about the application. And so I was at ETH Denver recently, and someone was, tell me about Bridge Network. And so I started telling them all this cool stuff that you can do cross chain, and then they were like, "You're selling me the features. You're not selling me the value to me." And that's kind of when I realized it. And users don't care about your distributed ledger infrastructure. They really don't. They care about how is your system optimizing the thing that they're trying to do. And so definitely it's how do we reshape the narrative? But with that comes how do we improve the overall user experience? And so there's a massive gap in the crypto world to bring on some of the best designers. We don't give designers enough love. I say that a lot. We give developers all the love, and they're by far some of the most important people in the space. But without the designer, you can create something amazing, but no one really would use it because people don't. It's not optimized for the masses. So I think user experience is amounts one of that, and then on top of that, just changing the way we speak about our projects. Our project is not this, yes, it's technical at its core, but onboarded users, they don't care for the most part about it. I think that like just being on the, when you're on the investment side and you're looking at white papers and looking to invest in something, everyone is so much focused on does this tech work? How exactly does it work? And that's from a fundamental perspective. And so as builders, when you're building these projects, you get so caught up in building that narrative so that persons can fully understand and make good investments into your project, that you lose that component of explaining it in a extremely simple fashion. And so when we actually recently did a rewrite of our light paper because we realized only us understood this. We weren't speaking to the people that we needed to speak to. So narrative and user experience, I think, will get us to where we need to be.
Yeah, I think that's really the thing that is being looked on now, right? UX, user adoption, is the first question that we ask when we do our due diligence for the startups. I mean, technology is it's okay. You're building DLT, it's fine. You can easily you can easily find that. But what about adoption? What about taking it to the masses? What about taking it to the real users actually using it? And that's why while we got a chance to be in Bangalore last year in India, where we had a product launch, DRIFE was being launched. And the best part about that was we were actually seeing an application called as DRIFE on our mobile phone. And when we were going back from a restaurant back to our place, we were actually using that application to book a cab. And that was blockchain in real life. That is similarly when this adoption and these mass adoption is what I think would be the game changer. So Zhanna, you have been hiring, you have been making lives, right? So you have been putting people to the right places, helping the companies, getting the right talent. What are your thoughts on how is the talent acquisition or talent management becoming an important angle or an aspect that companies are looking for now? I see a lot of products evolving in this space. I see a lot of technology evolving in this space. So tell us about what are you working on to cope up with that, and how do you say this?
Sure. I will be short in my answer. I will start with adoption. I think adoption and trust go hand in hand, right? And more adoptions bring more trust brings more adoptions. And with time, blockchain will be deeper and deeper. And even when you use iPhone, right, you don't need to know how it's working inside. You just use this, that's all. Question closed. And if you talk about recruiting, we want to give more speed to blockchain space. We want to have the best people, people who can learn very fast, who can make blockchain space, make like all metaverse, DeFi, NFT in the best level. Yeah, it what we are doing in recruiting.
Great. I think that would be really instrumental, getting the right people, because the industry itself, as by the nature of it, is uncertain, right? And it's very important to lay the trust in these companies and to take it to the masses. Obviously, we would need the right people who would believe in the vision of this technology as a whole and how it can actually make a change in the lives that we are living today. Right, the way the transactions are changing, the way we see how interactions are happening. I think recruitment and getting the right people would be a game changer as well. I've seen in the, I've been into this investment space for a long time now. I've seen from the venture capital space has now created a separate space, and I'm going a little I'm taking up a little controversial stand today and on a live video, but I hope people would understand this. There are a lot of she funds starting, funds focusing on women entrepreneurs, funds focusing on just having, if you have a woman co-founder, please come to us for funds. There are a lot of such evolution of this space is happening. Do you see this as an enabler and empowering thing, or do you see this as, again, creating a difference between two genders? Let's start with Kimberly. She had something in her mind.
So I actually used to think along the lines of, why are you selectively just funding? You're being biased to one specific group. So, I used to think along those lines until I kind of realized that if I look back to when I was, when I was younger, I didn't really have that many role models to look up to. I didn't see myself in anyone. I didn't see this young brown girl from the Caribbean doing this stuff. And so I think while yes, you're being selective, at the same time, you're cultivated and you're given people, this group of women, an opportunity that might be much difficult to get otherwise. So I think it's good because you reduce that barrier, and half the, as we all know, half of the job is just getting your foot in the door. And so I think these, these she VCs are very important to the space to move that forward. But yeah, I used to definitely have a very controversial view on it, saying, you shouldn't biasly fund one project. You should just fund a great project, regardless of who that is. And I still stick to that for the most part. But when it comes to isolating a specific group of people and empowering them, I think that's needed, because it was only recently where I was in a room with a bunch of male persons, and I didn't feel like, I felt uncomfortable initially until I kind of, other females eventually came in, and then I was like, okay, well, I feel more safe in the space, or, I feel more comfortable. I feel like there's people that I can identify with. So I think cultivating that community and helping that grow is actually very, very important.
What do you think, Firdosh, about this? I am interesting to hear your thoughts on this.
I guess, this is the statistics that I read recently, like out of 100% funding that happened, only 3% funding goes to women-led startup. Like out of every $1 billion funding that's happening across the globe, only 30 million goes to women. So obviously, like, I don't look at myself and limit myself as gender, but most of the people, when they look at a woman founder going and pitching, the first thing that they notice about you is that you are a woman. So even if it is not a limitation for me, and I never looked at my gender being my limitation, a lot of people still look at women based on their gender. And there comes very specific question that I have been asked, that men someone will not ask a men those questions. I still remember this incident where I was raising funds for DRIFE, and I was speaking with this investor, European investor specific. Okay, let's not do that. An investor, okay, and he's told me he heard the whole story, and he said, like, Firdosh, everything looks really good, everything is very perfect, but it is way too ambitious. Do something less ambitious, and I'm going to fund you. So, and there are questions when I was asked, like, what are your plans of getting married and all of that. So people, even if I don't put any limitation on what I can achieve, people do have some checklist which are specifically for women, and I guess that was the whole reason where people started doing women-led investment funds, where they said, like, okay, we want more women to come ahead and do projects and raise investment if we have this specific line of funds where we specifically fund women founders, because a lot of time women see a lot of rejection when they are raising investment. So it's not like that. It's not difficult for men also. It is safe. We both go through that same journey of raising fund, hearing no. But because I have specifically seen that, even though I don't consider my gender to be my limitation, I have also faced that when people ask me questions. Although I really don't believe in the concept of having a separate thing for women and then say, like, we want equality but also we want reservation. I'm not that person who believes either I want equality or I want reservation. You cannot want both of them. So I'm someone who believes in having equality. I expect more and more inclusion in terms of don't look at me based on my gender, and specifically if we start looking everyone irrespective of their gender and have a gender neutral approach, when someone is raising fund, there would have never been a requirement to do something like that.
Yeah. And I also think, like, and this is why we really need to cultivate this, female community of builders, because we're in this phase where, like, okay, this is a very new time where we're now bringing all these female entrepreneurs, bringing their projects to life, but that was never the case before. So at the same time, I this is so bad, but I could understand why these limitations are put upon us. And so it's our job as females to shift that narrative and do like a proof of concept to say, here's what we bring to the market. We have built this amazing project that has already proven itself in the market. And so I think over time, the more we continue to cultivate that and the more we continue to show the world that, hey, female entrepreneurs are thinking outside the box, just like male entrepreneurs, we can start to get on the same level, and eventually these checklists eventually is reduced over time.
Okay, I have a question for both of you, but before that, I would like to ask a little easy question, because things might get a little hot now because of my stand now. So before that, Zhanna, one of the core principles of Recruit, as I understand, being engaged with you, is diversity hiring, diversity recruiting. When you are recruiting the best minds for the entrepreneurs and the funds, companies, organizations, do you still see a difference in when you take a female candidate for a leadership position to a job, or when you recommend a male, or versus when you recommend a male candidate? Do you still see a biasness, or do you think we have evolved from that stage now?
You know what? I just realized before, when I work in IT space, it was really like someone can say, I need only men. Yeah, no women, please. But in blockchain space, I never hear where someone say, please, only men. They usually ask, can we have more female in our team? And usually they ask for leadership roles. And I'm so proud what we have this kind of like relationship now. And if we talk about investment in diversity. For me, female and male, it was always the same line. And I don't believe what we should promote more female participation in startups and venture capitalists just because it's fair. I think if you have business and if you work with different customers and if you want to have different view, if you want to make your business more successful, you should have more female in your business. It's for sure. But in blockchain space, we don't have this, but we need more men. And I think
thank you for taking the stand with me, Zhanna. So I'll leave this topic with this one question to you. Think about it, and to everyone who is listening to this. If there comes a fund that says, by the way, in full disclosure, I am in complete favor of looking at a project and a startup with a complete blindfold of gender and anyone who is in the team. It's about the idea, the strength of the team to execute it, and the market size that the startup is getting into. That's simple. These three questions is what I ask when I go for investments in these startups. But if a fund comes up, says, I would only invest in male founders versus a fund that comes up, I would only invest in female founders. On one side, we would criticize. Why? Because, you're creating a bias. Why are you not encouraging women? On the other side, we are saying appreciating because now you're encouraging, because that fund is encouraging more participation. Assuming that the statistics do say it, but, there has to be a beginning of a place or a position where we say, okay, now there is a fund that is looking with no biasness. We have equal opportunities for everyone that's there. So I completely agree that we as a whole society, they should encourage more equality, should encourage more equal opportunities, not equality, equal opportunities to everyone, right? But at the same time, I still do not agree to the fact that on one side, we would criticize a company focused on males, and on the other same side, with the same lens, we would encourage and appreciate a company that's focusing on females. So I leave this with a thought. Think about it. We can, get on to
we're not there. Discussions. We're not there yet, Rishabh. We're at a point where it's like, I don't know what the right word for it is, but it's much easier. And that's all it's about. It's about barriers and reducing the barriers. And so the barriers, this is a male company, this is a female company. The barrier for the female company is all the way up here. So I will totally agree with your point if the barriers came down and we were here. So that's just my thought.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I guess this is also about, this is what I say, and all the time, like, everybody see me speaking on the Women Day, but my co-founder always is like, Firdosh, what is the scam going on International Women Day? And he always tells me this, like even today, like he calls me like, what is the scam going on? You're all over today. And then I say this always, there's a history of thousands of years of exploitation of women. We are all repaying for it. That's it.
Exactly.
Okay, I'll put a stop to this, right?
Rishabh, you cannot come up to a female panel with powerful women and try to argue this.
No, I do. Yeah, I can definitely have some points, but I think I agree to a lot of points. I agree that it's more about the history that we have been through, and the barriers that you mentioned. But as Zhanna said, that we are changing, the times are changing, and let's hope that next time on the next Women's Day we sit again and we discuss that there are 50% funds are going to the women founders and 50% are going to the female founders, right? And the male founders.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's. I actually would like to continue it for a longer duration, talk more, but I think in the best interest of time, I would like to take a closing note with you all on a very simple question. How do we, what are your suggestions, recommendations, thoughts on the women out there, or let's say people out there, be it men or women, who are now trying to build their own company, their own startup, living the comfort of working in organizations with set routine, with set processes, getting to a startup. So after running and working for a startup, what are your suggestions for them? What food should they be prepared for? Let's start with
Yeah.
Zhanna.
I
Zhanna?
think, yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah, I think first, my advices will be more for female, and I think you should have big plans, and these big plans, time to time, you should scare you, and because only in this case you can grow. You should make painful mistakes. I really like Ray Dalio and his approach regarding these painful mistakes. You should build your network. You should have near you smartest people, and only in this case you can also grow. And you need to deal with rejections, and you need to understand how to handle negotiation comments, negative comments, and not let them affect you, and see you need to see some lesson from these mistakes. And I think most important, it's ask for the help. Honestly, for me, it's still hard to ask the help. I feel not strong when I'm doing this. I don't like to be dependent, and I think if we so independent women will learn how to ask the help, we can grow more fast.
Thank you. Kimberly?
Yeah. My thoughts on those. So there's 2 points. One, I stick by this rule, my own personal law, and that is the rules and suggestions of this world were made up by people just like ourselves. And so to follow all these rules is to put yourself in a box. And so create your own path. But then also you have to take extreme ownership for everything in your life. And there's a great book called Extreme Ownership by Joko Willink, and I totally recommend every entrepreneur, male or female, should read this. And the big idea is that you are absolutely responsible for how your life turns out, whether that's bad or good. Some people might have it much harder. Being an entrepreneur is hard already. Being a female entrepreneur is even harder. So that just means you have to work harder. And so taking extreme ownership of your life and realizing that you are the one in charge of it and you decide the direction is key to all of this. If you need to go learn how to pitch to VCs, a simple Google search would do that. If you need to go learn how to hire great talent, Google search as well. Like everything is online. And yeah, just take ownership of it.
Thank you. Firdosh?
I guess this is what I have to say, because this is what I did in my life. Like, I want to say to everyone out there, not just women, that be yourself, be courageous to pursue your dream, achieve it, and never look back. I did that. And in this journey, you'll get broken also. You'll feel depressed. You'll feel like nothing is moving. But trust me, nothing is stronger than a broken person who has rebuilt himself or herself. So that's what you have to do. Like in that journey, you will meet the best version of yourself, where you feel like, nothing is happening for you, but then you take that one more step and go ahead and still pursue what you want to achieve. That's it.
Great. So I think to conclude, take ownership, have perseverance, and be around the right people. Try to be around the right people, right? As in, who are at least releasing positive thoughts, and even if they're criticizing you, listen to them, understand if you're wrong at some point, and then improve upon it, and then work further and develop yourself.
Yeah.
Amazing, great thoughts. I think there is a lot of takeaways from this. I'm really happy that we decided to do this. Thank you so much again for taking our time. I know you all are really, really busy people, but yeah, thank you for taking our time for us. We are free and we're sitting idle, right? And it's amazing. It's amazing to listen to your thoughts, hear your thoughts, and we are fortunate to be working along with you. Each one of you, the journey, we have been a part of your journey. We have seen you growing. We have seen you growing from an idea phase to now, where you are the most wanted entrepreneurs on this planet. So it's a pleasure to work along with you, all of you. And we'll hope to learn more. We would really look forward to learn more from you. Thank you so much again for taking our time, and thank you so much to all the community for watching us. We would be continuously hosting more and more shows as we go ahead, and we'll soon have a International Men's Day. We'll have the men entrepreneur as well.
Thank you,
so much.
Rishabh. Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Bye.
Rishabh. Thank you.
Bye-bye,
Thank you,
guys.
guys. Bye.
Bye.